There are several factors to consider when selecting fall protection for fixed ladders. Different structures, applications, frequency of use. Different industries may need different solutions. So first off, a pretty basic one. What are the options for fall protection on fixed ladders?
So there's kind of three areas where people who have brought us in to assist with evaluating it have gone to. So one would be like a fixed ladder system. So that's going to be a cable. And if Connor, if you want to pull up the picture there of the fixed ladder, just the basic system, we'll start there. Perfect. So that would be one option, would just be to put a fixed ladder system, and that's going to have a top and bottom bracket and a cable that runs up and down the ladder with a sleeve that travels on it. That's one of the options that you could do. Another option, Connor, if you could bring up the picture with the retractable up at the top of the ladder. So you can hang a retractable up at the top of the ladder, and we make brackets that allow the end users to do that, and then you can pull an SRL down from that to provide the fall protection. And then the other option would be for a worker to utilize a 100% system. So that would be 2 lanyards or 2 retractables, and just connect them as they go up the ladder. That's a relatively slow and tedious process, so not usually common practice. Most people go with option A or B that we covered there.
Sure. Okay. So going to body harnesses, what types of harnesses are needed for these systems?
It's a good question. So that first system that we talked about with the cable going up and down the center of the ladder, that ladder safety system, that sleeve that runs up and down that ladder requires a chest D-ring. So that's a challenge for some facilities because their current harnesses don't offer a chest D-ring, right? Like your tower climbers, they're already going to have the chest D-rings on those harnesses, but a standard industrial environment may not have chest D-rings. So that's something that you need to consider when you're adding that. If that's not something that you want to look at investing in or changing, that second option where you hang the SRL from up above, that system would connect to the worker's dorsal D-ring, and almost every harness comes with a dorsal D-ring on it. Yeah. So that's some things to consider as far as different harnesses go.
Okay. And these harnesses and the fixed ladder system or an SRL, it can work with any brand of harness as long as it has those features. It's not, you don't have to stick with one brand or anything. So if you have a harness from a non-3M company, right, and you just want to buy new SRLs, you can do that too.
You would just want to check and make sure that your connections are compatible, sure, and that systems are designed to work together. So that would be impact loads and the hooks connecting to D-rings. Most things are, but I would recommend if you're interchanging brands just to check with those manufacturers and make sure the connections are compatible and the systems can be used together. Should be okay though.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so what should organizations consider when selecting a fixed ladder fall protection system?
One of the big challenges that we bring in is, one, there's the compliance side, is let's get a system on the ladder so that we can be compliant with providing our workers fall protection while accessing that ladder. One of the challenges is getting off of that ladder. If your system that you utilize only allows the worker to get chest height to the top rung, then they have to disconnect and access that rooftop, or maybe they have to step off the platform sideways. Depends on the application, depends on what they need to do. So we make a series of different top brackets, and other manufacturers do as well, to allow workers that safe transition leaving the ladder safe system to the area. So if you can bring up the picture with a couple of different types of systems, perfect. So you can see the 2 off to the right side of the screen there are poles that extend up, and the first one would allow the worker just an overhead anchor point. There's a little yellow D-ring. It's tough to see in that picture, but if the worker had a retractable on their back, they could connect that to that D-ring, transition off the ladder, and have fall protection 100% of the time. The other option extends that lifeline all the way up, and so I can get off the ladder, spin around up on top of the roof, pass through the access gate at a refinery or something like that, and that would allow me that transition and remain in fall protection 100% of the time. It adds some cost, and that's something that needs to be evaluated, but certainly if you're investing in the equipment, you want to make sure it makes sense for the workers to use and you're keeping them safe.
Yeah, so it's one of those things when you're looking to upgrade existing ladders or add new ladders, you need to take into account what kind of environment you're working in and assess all of those hazards.
Absolutely. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all for workers, for sure.